Welcome to Dossier, where we count down all the important games coming out every month. June was all about PlayStation and Xbox, with a staggering number of great games that you're likely still playing. But July leans a little bit more towards Switch. That's not to say there aren't worthwhile games for the other guys, they just have a bigger challenge trying to cleave some dollars from your wallet. Let's see what's in store for July 2023 in the world of video games. If you plunked down the $550 for PlayStation VR 2 and have been wondering what you're going to play next, sci-fi first-person shooter Synapse isn't a bad choice. While it's been dinged in reviews for being somewhat repetitive, its mostly monochromatic look certainly stands out, and its use of eye tracking for its telekinetic abilities has been unanimously lauded by critics. You play as an anonymous soldier, but you eventually get to know them from the inside out, as you shoot through his conscious and subconscious mind. If you enjoy RPGs and aren't familiar with the Legend of Heroes franchise, you should be. They make use of turn-based combat and gripping narratives that span dozens and dozens of hours. Trails into Reverie launched in Japan way back in 2020, as this franchise is one of the few that still has a huge gap between its Eastern and Western release dates. But there's no fear of it becoming long in the tooth. The RPGs in this series are generally timeless and a great value to boot. You play as 3 different parties using its crossroads system, which will keep you on your toes. The first Oxenfree follows some teens as they're sucked into a rift at a campfire beach party. It's had over 3 million downloads on Game Pass alone, and is an indie smash hit. So much so that Netflix bought the studio behind it. This adventure game sequel takes place 5 years later, as the main protagonist returns from the rift to find that she's the only one capable of stopping the dangerous cult that created it. Best of all, the game is completely free if you're a Netflix subscriber. While we wait, for something, anything related to Dino Crisis from Capcom, it's decided it knows best. Instead, we get EXO Primal, a cooperative shooter where you and 4 friends take on wave after wave of dinosaurs that spill out of rifts onto the battlefield. The twist is that another 5-man team is doing the same thing, and you're racing to complete all the objectives first. Despite being a game you must pay for, EXO Primal has a lot of the same aesthetics as free-to-play games, meaning you're always striving to unlock new cosmetics to accentuate your exosuit. The first 3 Pikmin games have been released with minimal tweaks and improvements, but that all changes with Pikmin 4. This time, the franchise inspired by Shigeru Miyamoto's gardening hobby has a wealth of changes. Perhaps the biggest is the ability to continue playing at night thanks to its new glow Pikmin. You also have a new Pooch sidekick that you can use to transport dozens of Pikmin at once across dangerous terrain. Then, you also have the ability to create your own playable character. While all these changes do add up, it's still the most unique real-time strategy franchise on the market, as you toss your little guys at enemies and objects to ultimately escape back to the safe expanse of outer space. The first Remnant is often described as Dark Souls with guns, but in actuality, it's a tough action RPG that's more akin to Bloodborne. The sequel is looking to keep the challenge while adding some friends. 3 players can play at a time as they pick their 2 guns, a melee weapon, and then choose from a handful of classes to shape their playstyle. Eventually, you're even given the ability to equip multiple classes at once. It features procedurally generated levels, so no 2 games are ever the same. The story and quests also change from one session to the next. It's an ambitious game that will be tough to balance, but we have our fingers crossed. We haven't received a ton of PS5 only games from Sony just yet. While that's about to change, one of the first is just about to make its way to PC. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart still stands as a technical marvel and an excellent showcase of what Sony's latest console is capable of. One of its coolest features is the ability to warp into entirely new areas of the game in the blink of an eye. That feature returns for PC, but you'll have to have a fast SSD drive in order to play it. PlayStation games being ported to PC have been a mixed bag so far, but we doubt Insomniac We'll allow this one out of the incubator if it's half-baked. We recently received a revival of the classic Streets of Rage beat-em-up franchise, and now it's Double Dragon's turn. This all-new side story is set after the world has endured a nuclear apocalypse. Brothers Jimmy and Billy Lee must clean up the criminal gangs that are terrorizing the streets of New York City. You choose 2 playable characters at a time, and you're able to switch between them at will to manage as challenging roguelike elements where the order you choose the missions affects their length, number of enemies, and overall difficulty. Or you can just switch between the 2 on the fly for some sweet, pugilistic combos. Telltale is integral to the creation of the Choose Your Own Adventure game with its excellent work on The Walking Dead. Since then, the studio has been through some ups and downs though, resulting in it being disbanded only for it to ultimately rise from its grave, like a creeper, from one of the graphic novels. This Phoenix studio is about to release its first new project with The Expanse. It's based on a beloved, but now cancelled sci-fi series from Amazon Prime, so while it's a little late to the party, it's also early, since it serves as a prequel to the show. The first season is 5 entries long, with 2 weeks between each one. In addition to Pikmin 4, Nintendo's console handheld hybrid is getting another worthwhile exclusive in Disney Illusion Island. This cooperative 2D platformer for up to 4 players has you trying to hunt down 3 powerful books that protect the island. It's your job to restore calm amid chaos, and this side-scroller looks incredible while you're doing it, with its hand-drawn visuals and silky smooth animation. While the level design resembles a Metroidvania, combat is put on the back burner in favor of challenging team-based platforming. Thanks for checking out our rundown of all the games worth considering in July 2023. While we focused on just 10 games for this countdown, there are dozens more worth investigating. Find your next favorite at sifted.net, where you tell us what you like and we give you a custom feed of content. If you like what we're doing, head to patreon.com/sifted and drop us a pledge. For just $4 a month, you get all our content when it's hot off the presses and ad-free. We'll see you all next month.